Ashish, you were on mute. I don't know if any of us heard. At least I didn't hear.
Yeah, so I have to repeat. There was some issue at my end, I believe.
Yeah.
Just give me a second. Yeah, so hello everyone. Welcome to Live in Conversation by MentorKart. This is Ashish Khare, founder MentorKart. First of all, I would like to thank you all for watching and attending our live sessions. We are witnessing thousands of views on these and it's growing. We are happy that you are liking them. As you are aware that MentorKart brings these live interactions with industry leaders, entrepreneurs, investors, coaches, and mentors to share their views and answer your queries and questions you may have. In continuation of this initiative, today our special guest for today is Dr. Srihari Prakash. He is President Vice Chancellor at Sir Padampat Singhania University at Udaipur, and he comes with huge experience as a academician and administrative as well as governance experience. He had visited universities abroad in Spain, France, Turkey, Malaysia, and Thailand. And most important, I liked in his profile that he believed in staying in touch with the students through classroom teaching while despite having larger responsibility of running institutions. And today we are going to talk about new education policy, future of education in India, and many such questions I have received from students across India. MentorKart is specially crafted student mentorship program called SMP, which is specially designed for college students. And soon we will be revealing that details more about it. So let's welcome Dr. Srihari Prakash on the screen now. And I'm sorry for that technical glitch we had in the start. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
allowing me to be part of this discussion. And thank you for a very wonderful introduction. I started wondering who this person is. Almost didn't look like me. Uh, I think these are fantastic times, fantastic times because I mean, for my generation, I think these are exasperating times. We have accepted so many changes in our lifetime, and now they are all going to come at us at a much faster rate. But that's part of the excitement. For the younger generation, I think it's going to be so much more different, so much more interesting, and life uh, is going to be very, very, uh, worth looking forward to. So, uh, to talk about the new education policy to begin with, I like a few of things which are very interesting. For example, at every level, it's been grouped into multiple levels. Even the schooling, if
Right,
you look at it,
right,
and at
right.
every level there are very interesting deliverables, and not restricted to uh, and in India we have been so much obsessed with content delivery. We have moved away from outcome deliveries. So
Hmm.
much so that we for the sake of content delivery, we have even given up on the whole process of understanding, learning, and absorbing, and making it part of your personality thing, which I'm sure when I was a student, these things were happening, but somewhere along the line we lost the whole thing. And that's why this new education policy which is coming back in, I like the fact that even the university system, it's time we started looking at the
Right.
horses for the races. You have universities which are going to be research universities, universities which are going to be teaching universities. Instead of saying let every university excel in everything, we are we are very realistic, and I'm sure that so-called teaching universities would excel in teaching The research universities, I would expect that since the focus is on research, they would excel. And then we are talking of multidisciplinary universities, especially because we need an environment of multidisciplinary for every youngster to grow in. We don't want, engineering students studying in isolated engineering institutions, and once they come out, uh, they don't know how lawyers look. They don't know how doctors look. They don't know how the rest of the world looks. In fact, they get so engrossed in their world of formulae and calculations that they just don't know what else is there in the world for them, and they fail in a lot of life decisions, and a lack of life skills is telling on these human beings. They don't know how to enjoy. I mean, they know some ways of enjoyment, no doubt about that, but they don't really know how to lead a fulfilling life and how to be part of a multi disciplinary teams. And we are now today talking of outcomes even for engineering. The NBA and the Washington Accord, these are already coming in, and it's just that the new education policy says outcomes are important at every level, and that's what
Absolutely.
I like about the new education policy.
Absolutely.
And more importantly, from the student point of view, today the student enters and then he has to, you know, complete the 4 year degree
Yes.
successfully. So he either has a degree or he doesn't have anything to take home.
Yes.
Somebody who struggles for any reason, it could be ability, lack of focus, or it could be lack of, it could be an economic means decision that he cannot continue his studies. Then he practically loses everything that he has put in if he does. Either he takes the whole thing or nothing. Today, the education policy talks about he can uh, park his credits, come back, and add to those credits and get a degree uh, uh, at his own pace when he wants, etc. I
Yeah.
think
Absolutely.
this is absolutely essential. On one hand, we are wanting everybody to be a lifelong learner, and we say if you are above a certain age or below a certain age, you can't learn this, you can't get into this program. Uh, that's, I think, a few things which I thought I should point out. There are many other things which I like. They want to cluster institutions together to form multidisciplinary universities. It's very, very important to have that multidisciplinary. I would say we should also move towards creating a multi-ethnic environment on the campuses, uh, and diverse environment, so that people learn to live with each other,
Yeah.
uh, especially in the presence of differences in talent, in thinking, thought process, uh, the whole lot. And this is particularly true for India, because in India we have always believed in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which means we have welcomed everybody. We believe in everybody being part of my family, and within our families, we live with people who are not necessarily all equals in all equal this thing, and that translation uh, now is very, very important, particularly because our families have now become very nuclear, and we are losing out on that aspect of life skills, which people in generations before us have had that privilege
Correct.
of.
Correct.
I,
So I think so. It's a great insight and opening remark, Doctor. There are a whole lot of questions I collected from student, and
please,
I
let's
wanted to
address
bring
that.
them in front of you that how people thinking about it. So, for example, I was interacting with one of the group of students last week, and there were a lot of discussion around this new education policy. And one thing earlier all students used to think that, okay, fine, when I'm going to university, at the end of it, when I'm going to come out of the college, what am I going to get it, right? It's basically that's more important, whether it's employability or doing entrepreneurship or whatever. Yeah, I will talk about entrepreneurship separately, but on the employability perspective, so they have been a question in their mind that, okay, so after new education policy, what is going to change for us? Am I will be more employable, or will I get more skills what industry needs, or is it something going to be changed for me? So, from a student perspective and industry perspective, what is your thought process around that?
Let me start around that employability thing. What
Sure.
I have been thinking about, what has been my experience. Even today, our youngsters believe getting a job is employability, or
Hmm.
somebody should give them a job. What they are not looking for is getting themselves employable. They're not looking for becoming employable. They are looking essentially for a salary. Let's be very
Yeah.
absolutely clear with it.
Let's be clear. Yeah.
And in a society, it will never happen. You are going for a professional degree. You're going to be a professional. A professional, by definition, is somebody who is going to be useful to the society. And when somebody is useful to the society takes care of him by giving him a salary and or perks, respect, a whole lot of things. I
Right.
think that whole fundamental thing is missing in our youngsters. I hope the moment we move into outcome achievements, students will start getting into learning. They will realize that if I learn, I'm going to be useful. That is a transformation which is absolutely essential amongst our learners. They all come in and say, if I do this degree, how much will I get in terms of salary? I sometimes uh, feel like telling them that the date on your degree is more or less the date when your knowledge expires. So that is not going to get you anything, because that can at best show that you have some ability to learn. That's what has been measured in the academic institution. How you do with that ability to learn is what is going to shape your career. I think this whole fundamental point is totally missing. And
Absolutely.
most of our academic institutions are also running behind this thing of, let's get them jobs, and and a whole lot of our youngsters
Yeah.
are not into that, not into that.
Let's get them placed.
Yes, get them placed somehow,
Get them
placement.
placed somehow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Uh,
something
so
which is not.
that's a narrative which I think we need to very quickly get away from, because that narrative is going to hurt our nation very badly. People must understand that you need to become useful to the society, and
Absolutely.
then, because see, look at our population. This is the size of our society. We need all kinds of professionals. That need has not gone away.
Right.
Yeah. So you just need to find out what job is there which you can do. Do that job. You are useful to society. You will get. The society will look after you. That's how I see. Uh,
Interesting. It's a very interesting perspective, and I think so. One more questions
yeah.
when I interact with people comes along with me, that okay, fine, the India is changing the education policy, and there was always a buzzword saying, okay, now we are getting aligned with the world education, now we are getting aligned with the international education system, which is like 16 year, etc., etc., all that is going to happen. And so what is your view on that? And one more question I would like to add here, from the previous one, which we are talking about employability. I have seen people, students going abroad, and from day one they think that whether they will get something to work, so that they can earn some money. So if a student is going outside India, he's thinking from day one that how he can earn. Okay,
Yes.
but when he's studying in India, up to 25, he's not even thinking about that.
Yeah.
So
Don't you think we are to blame for that? We pamper
yes,
our kids so
yes,
much. We
yes.
protect
So
them,
yeah, absolutely. So that these are the
and
two
we want to
perspectives.
provide them the best. It does not matter if I sleep on the floor. I want my child to, sleep on a mattress in a mosquito net with AC. If I can somehow scrape the bottom and afford it, I want my child to go to the best of the schools, and I want my child to go to IITs. I mean, luckily that craze has now come down. Uh,
Yeah,
uh, the engineering and medicine craze bubbles have, somehow come down, but then we are now started looking at it the wrong way, in terms of, say, ROI is
mm,
one concept which everybody is bringing in. See, ROI is something. Education investment is for a lifetime. So ROI you can only calculate when you're on your deathbed. Before that, it's meaningless. So if you are thinking, I will earn for 3 years what I have spent in the field, well, if you are able to earn, uh, happy,
mhm.
great thing. But if that is the attitude with which you are approaching life, those may be the only 3 years where you have invested, and then after that you'll have to go back and invest something else. Uh,
Absolutely.
so this is
Coming
where,
back to coming back
yeah,
to alignment
yeah,
from the
international perspective.
hmm,
Yeah. It would get us a lot of confidence that we are all on similar page. In terms of skills, we would become equivalent. See, there used to be a word which used to be used. Nowadays, nobody uses it. An American kid is considered to be industrious. All it meant was that he would want to do things with his hands, and he would want to, and an Indian would probably use a paper and pen. Even worse, he will only be interested in being an argumentative person. He
hmm,
will go theoretical, and this has been said time and again by a lot of people, and I believe it's true. And the fact that Indian students, once they go abroad, they seem to outperform their peers otherwise. That's
yeah,
because of the environment that is provided. And we have failed to create that kind of environment where you become a learner, and then you start working on the outcomes, and several other things are associated with it. Only thing is, the new education policy does talk about bringing in ethics at a very early stage, character building. I think these are some of the things which we have lost in some form or other. For us,
hmm,
copying is something which is, a done thing. Uh, and these are the things which have been holding us back from, being the experiential learner. We have had a host of our students, because of our obsession with content, uh, being disgruntled with the schooling process. So they have all found out an easy way out, uh, the minimum which they need to do so that they, go to the next class and nobody bothers them, uh, and and they go through this motion even through the professional courses. And we have had to, because of our large numbers which we handle, we have managed to dilute you know the so-called benchmarks so as to accommodate as many as possible. This whole process, I'm hoping, would change with the new education policy. because now we are looking at outcomes, and if outcomes are handled transparently and if outcomes are adopted by youngsters, I'm sure they will realize schooling is not a punishment. Schooling is a wonderful learning pace, a place where I can learn at my own pace. I can learn what I like better, and I don't have to be, amongst everybody else. I don't have to compete with somebody who is good in maths. If I'm good in languages, I can build on that, and I still can be, one complete student. These are the kinds of things which flexibilities in life which exist, uh, and uh, and if we can provide them at the scale which we are looking at. I would sometimes say the scale would probably make it feasible, but unfortunately, our thought process will stop us from, you know, scaling it up.
Yeah,
This
best
is
thing that I like
what I
about
understand.
is that, yeah, best thing I see now from CBSE itself, and I think so going forward, further flexibility will be there, like
Yeah,
picking subjects of your choice, right? In terms of
yeah,
people
and this
picking
is
it up.
something people say this is something which the IB was already doing, and some of our international schools were already doing. But then, most of the students who went to these international schools were, let me use the term, people who could afford
Yeah,
and who were not happy in our regular schools. Uh, so we were left with a host of people who couldn't afford, who could have done well had this flexibility been provided, and be good citizens of the country, be very useful citizens of the country. Yeah, I'm sure we
agreed.
have,
So
we have
coming
lost
back,
so much of.
coming back to the affordability part, right? That this have been always a problem in terms of that if how the education is, reaching to the poorest of the poor, or at the lower level. So this new education policy help in some way for people who are in terms of affordability of the education at higher level.
See, there
Do you
have been
see?
some policy statements of creating a fund, etc., and how they
Hmm.
get rolled out will determine how it will be created. But I think, in a nutshell, what I believe is we are a large society, and it's as a society, it would be difficult for me to believe that we can't afford to educate our youngsters as a
Hmm.
society as a large, with our whatever you want to call it, GDP or whatever else. It's the mandate which we need to accept, and make sure that all our youngsters are uh, educated through the with the current policy in some form or the other. Either you pay taxes to the government and government spends it, or you give endowments to universities. The industries come in and pay for education of the workforce they want to employ. I don't know how it's going to happen, but then there are going to be multiple ways in which these things will have to happen. Uh, that is still not clear, but then there is this aspect which you are pointing out has been thought by our policymakers, and they have applied some mind to it, and they're talking of some actions which are there. I hope
That's a
in the
good
process
thing.
of
That's a good
implementation,
thing.
it will all come out into
Will
a very good,
will come out. Yeah.
complete
However,
story.
what I've seen over the period of time, the availability of funds through banks and all in the on the loan for student, not for their parents. So that is something which they can pay
Yeah,
off later on.
loan against the education is something which has to. And then you, for example, when you buy a house, you are putting the house as a collateral.
Mortgage.
So when you are getting education, you put your degree as a collateral.
Absolutely. Which is very well
I
said.
think that should be the way. That's probably the way in which things should go. And with digitized degrees and other things, I'm sure it's possible for the government to ensure that once your degree is parked somewhere, any employment you gain, the bank will, get a share of your earnings.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, coming to the very important and interesting area. So, as you know, that MentorKart have been into university and colleges and working with entrepreneurship cells, working with normal students as well as a student which are who are looking for entrepreneurship as a career, or maybe they want to start with entrepreneurship, whether even if it is a small level, maybe not at a startup or funding, etc., but they do want to do something on their own instead of going and doing a job. Do you really see that is happening really, and awareness is increasing? What kind of challenges you see in that area?
See, the biggest challenge has been, pardon me for using the rhetoric of Macaulay's model of education, which made us all babus. We all, went into education. I mean, as I've been saying, looking for good salaries and
Yeah,
things
yeah,
like that,
yeah.
and we thought that would be the way to go. And if we can come out of that mindset, I think it will be wonderful. Today, the youth has that mindset. They are looking
Mm.
at such a large number of successful entrepreneurs. What is important is build into them that ability to take that risk and accept failure and stand up again. The society has to fund that. Society has to fund that. Somebody who fails as an entrepreneur is not written off and and deemed useless. He has so much of learning. In fact, I have seen some of the organizations
Mm-hmm.
uh, valuing failed entrepreneurs much more than successful entrepreneurs as an
Agreed.
employee,
Agreed.
because
Agreed.
these fellows know what it takes to try, and they have learned a lot many lessons compared to somebody who has been successful. He probably hit jackpot, had an easy way. I think these are some of the things which we will, as a society, we must learn to accept. There are some communities, even in India, who believe in entrepreneurship, who want these are business communities, and if somebody wants to take up a job, they look down upon that boy or girl. So, but then they have a very limited, way of translating into a business.
Yeah.
They figure out business niche areas. They do all that is done. Um, what is missing is the innovations and the newer products, possibly. But that's something which has to become way of our life. And for a long time, innovation has not been our way of life. We may take a lot of pride in the jugaad we do, but the jugaad, we have failed to convert the jugaad into a sophisticated product. We have been happy with the jugaad and we have been living with the
Mm.
jugaad, which is to say that the jugaad is an inefficient innovation, and we seem to be happy with that, and we are living with that. I think we need to change that mindset. All I'm
Agreed.
saying is
Actually,
we have the ability to innovate,
yeah.
but we are happy with half measures. Uh, then
Yeah,
it's not
up to the school level, up to school level, college level, showing in the exhibition, showing in somewhere,
Oh,
and
even
this
even
okay, we have.
look at our lower middle class, the way they conjure up the transport vehicles, and these are all highly inefficient appendages, which we are happy because it works, and we are
Yeah.
continue to use them. That's what I believe. I mean, once we understand that this is something which is going to work, convert it into something, improve its efficiency. That has never been our forte. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, so on the entrepreneurship side, I would just like to add something here for our audience is that entrepreneurship is not only about doing business.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is all about having that mindset. And if you build that mindset, it also help you in a workplace. Suppose if you go and do a job, you will
Yeah.
thrive more, you will grow more because you have that mindset of entrepreneurship. That is very important.
I think what you are saying is enterprising is a quality which you must build, yeah, and entrepreneurship will automatically come to you. And most
Right.
of the successes, even if you are taken up a job, the successes are because of your enterprise.
Yeah.
You have gone that extra mile. You have done something different, and people around you have accepted you as a leader. I think that's absolutely essential. That's absolutely essential.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah, it is a good discussion around entrepreneurship. So
yeah.
coming back to the again education policy, is that do you see the role of teacher or role of professor or a mentor is changing in this new system? Is not
Let's
limited to only
let's talk
teaching
about
and
teachers at different levels. I think
yeah.
our school teachers, by and large, have been doing a very decent job of it. I'm sure with the changed goalposts, they should be able to do well. Because
Hmm.
one thing which is important is the teacher has to hit a chord with the student, hit the right chord with the student, should have a connect to the student. I think most of our school teachers, irrespective of whether it's a municipal school or an international so-called school, our teachers have established that rapport with the students at that level. It's the university teachers who really need, because university teachers do not have any training of teaching technology or understanding of it. It's been content delivery all through. It's now
Hmm.
that the teachers have been asked, see where it's going and what is the outcome of it, and that's a change which is going to come up, and I'm sure with a policy change, the NBA and NAC and even the AICT speaking the same language everywhere. Slowly but surely, I think the teacher attitude towards the profession and the whole activity of uh, learning is going to change. Teacher is going to change his this thing from the popularly used phrase of sage on stage. He's now going to become guide on the side, and it's the guide on the side who is going to be more efficient, and who will be more appreciated, who will also ensure that students pick up lifelong learning skills on their own, and you allow students to learn at their own pace, etc., etc. I mean, the whole story gets rolled out. I think the teachers would change. Um, um, will be forced to change, like it happened during the pandemic. 99% of academicians were against the whole online business, and
Hmm.
101% of them now are into the online business. They have understood it can work, they have made it work.
Hmm.
Whole majority of them have made sure that it works, because see, that is what is very very important. And if we had accepted it a few years ago, we probably would have been in a much better position, and implementing it in a much much more efficient and happy circumstances. Our students would also be used to the online mode, and they would have learned even better. But I'm sure students being students, millennials, they were already their existence was in the virtual world. So for them to adopt was much easier, but the difficult part we have done. All the teachers have adopted. What is important is we don't throw away the take homes of this entire exercise, especially during the COVID season, and say now I'm going to use this as one more very important mode of transmission, of sharing, you know, of connecting with students and ensuring and aiding the learning process.
Absolutely. Even I've seen that this pandemic has, teachers, as you rightly said, who have not gone online have learned how to do that.
I
And
mean,
not only
teachers
at
who
one
didn't know how
go,
to use the smartphone have gone, and such wonderful innovations,
yes, yes, I agree. I agree. Lot of innovation, and one teacher is now aware about multiple tools.
yes,
So you,
yes.
they don't know most of the tools which are available to how to go online and all the.
I keep saying some of our next faculty development programs will be led by our high school children, because they are more tech savvy than us oldies. So we may have a high
Agree.
school child coming and saying this app how you use. Uh,
And this will bring both of them together. That's very
oh yes,
important.
oh yes,
Yeah,
oh
it
yes.
will give
It's
them
a
a
great
better
equalizer.
bond
Technology is
relationship.
a great equalizer.
Yeah, that is how it is.
Yeah.
Okay, and so coming to the one more question, and then we'll take probably see if something is coming from the crowd. Is basically is on the courses side. We
Yeah.
see, especially after pandemic, last year the children who have passed out or who are about to pass out or who are passing out this year have realized that okay, they need to get into something to earn money or to earn household for them is more important than even going for further education or something like that. And what has happened in this, that entire, I see the courses and design has changed. In last 1 year, last 10 months time, we see lot of courses which are actually degree courses and online courses people have joined. I'm saying the platform, the online delivery platform, online education platform has done more enrollment as compared to a couple of even universities. So how this is changing? Do you see the course design or the mode of delivery is changing? Like for example, in new education policy, you said that people can come and go and take a break and then come to back to industry. Do you see that something online offline combination of degree will be more available, campus online offline or something like that?
Yes, yes, yes. Much more than what you are trying to imply is going to happen. For example, some of this has already been happening for a decade now. A lot of
Hmm.
industry professionals have been going and getting these online certifications, if you recall.
Yeah.
Since that is not out in the open like it has been today, and those
Hmm.
numbers are not shared with the larger public, but the industry has been accepting those trainings. Those trainings have found value already, and people are getting those trainings, online certifications, and using those skills to upgrade their employments and earning abilities, etc. So this was already there. Now that taste has come down to the
Hmm.
larger public, and you have Google saying we will offer these courses, and we don't care whether you have a degree or not.
Yeah.
uh, you will get
Correct.
an internship with us. I think that is something which is bound to happen, uh, because of, and it will eliminate a lot of funny things happening in the academic sector. Uh, some of the regulators are forcing things to happen in such a way, which probably is not very healthy for the society. uh, and we will break those shackles, not just of regulators but also uh, the owners of academic institutions, if you want to call it, who were contriving and manipulating the system to maximize their incomes. Some of those are going to be unsustainable, and they will wither away. People are going to collect a bouquet of courses and say,
Hmm.
"This is the bouquet of courses I have. I can do this job. I will join you." Today, if you look at the industry is worried. The HR managers are worried that we are getting into a gig kind of an economy. They're saying the new employees are not looking for a lifelong employment. They say we will
Right.
come and do your project. The moment project is over, the gig is disintegrated,
Yeah.
and individuals are going to work with multiple gigs simultaneously, and suddenly after a few projects are completed, the individual may decide, now I will take a 6 month break. I'm going to enjoy life, or I'm going to upgrade myself and then come back into the gig process. This is going to be a dynamic process, which is what I like, because then it's going to be meritocracy, but meritocracy with enough opportunities for everybody to be part of that system.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
never going to be that a few people will be the doers and others will sit and eat. That's never going to be the case. Everybody will have to do his bit and be part of the entire process. Um,
Yeah, it will be gig economy is always like that.
yeah.
Okay, everybody is committed.
Only thing is we will lose our predictability. We still don't know what kind of jobs that are going to be there next year. Forget about 5 years down the
Yeah,
line,
yeah,
and what skills are required, we don't know. But our youngsters, if we help them understand that whatever skills are required, you can acquire them just in time, use them. Maybe those skills will become redundant at some point of time. Get rid of them, pick up other skills, and be in the be in the whole process. Be part of the wheels and spokes, if you want to call it. I think that's going to be really wonderful.
great. It was a nice conversation around various topics about educational
And
policy, education system for students, and this video is going to be there for long, available for everybody to watch. People are watching. I see a lot of people are watching, and I'm asking them, questions if this is there. People are sitting on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, all three. And on the screen we are not able to see that. That is because the interface is not calculating. Coming to the point end of discussion. This is now about the mentorship, uh, a role of mentorship in the today's world. However, we all understand that everybody needs a mentor at every stage of
everybody,
life, and
everybody needs a mentor at all times.
all time,
Only thing
every
is,
stage of life. Yes,
at every time in life, you'll need a different mentor with different
agreed.
capabilities. Yeah,
Agreed. And that's what MentorKart is doing. And we are reaching out to education institute,
yeah,
universities. We are helping entrepreneurship also at a very seed level, and bring that education. And probably whatever we are talking about, this plus what university is teaching, combination of these two will actually definitely will help. Initial stage you ask that, okay, people are missing on the life skill. Now when you talk about life skill at MentorKart, that also we have given a lot of importance to that, and for that we have launched our programs and all. Maybe we'll get a chance to interact with you, and sometime we will plan the visit and we'll talk to you for sure, and we'll discuss about it. And so thank you very much. Though we have couple of more things to discuss, I think so we'll do put it for next time. It's already
Yeah,
45 minutes, and
sure.
you also have to
I'm
go.
sure. I'm sure the webinar fatigue is already setting in, and before
Yeah.
we put people in a coma, I think we must wind up. Uh,
Yeah.
but Ashish, I think it's a wonderful initiative you have taken, and I'm very happy being part of it. This discussion, I have thoroughly enjoyed this discussion. I'm not sure about our audience, but if they have any questions, I'm sure I will be happy to get
Yeah,
back.
I see Anil is there. I see SK, Vikas, Harsh. They have been watching for some time now. Harsh has written something related to innovation. Let me just read out for us. Um,
Yeah, he's talking
okay.
about
Uh,
it will increase creative thinking. Yeah, I mean that's the whole cycle, isn't it? I mean, creative thinking, innovation, then take it to conclusion, and then come back and rethink the whole thing. So it's that's the design thinking process. I think Harsh is right. Um, Harsh, you can remove the question mark and put a full stop there.
Absolutely. That's what is important. Yeah, so good. I think so. We had a lot of time. I think the people have been watching, so I'm sure they will have more questions and they'll come back to us. Thank you, Dr.
Sure.
Srihari, for joining us. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you. It was a nice discussion as always, and we will come back to you and discuss further. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.